Hello everyone, and welcome to the Creature Corner here on GDQ Hotfix. It's so weird, I usually get to say Parallel Universe, but this week, due to some unfortunate circumstances, for those of y'all who were just here just a few minutes ago, yes, I'm here, I'm hosting Creature Corner tonight, and I am so excited. We have two Pikmin runs. We have a run of Pikmin 2 coming up here in just a minute, and after that, we have Pikmin 3 Deluxe. So, like I said, I'm super excited for tonight. It is going to be incredible. You're going to want to keep your butt in that seat. And if you are missing that PVC run, just know that Satan has done Roof on the Hotfix Showmaker on Victory here, exclamation MYOV, and you can check that out on youtube.com/GamesDoneQuick if you really want to watch that run get finished. But right now, like I said, we have Pikmin 2. So Cap, take it away. I'd love to know more about this.
Thanks. Let's get the run started, and then we can start talking about it. So we were going to start the run in 3, 2, 1, and start. So that's so Pikmin 2 is mostly about collecting treasures. So what happens is your protagonist Olimar and his coworker Louis work for a shipping company. They go deep into debt for lore reasons that I would recommend playing the game to find out. But it turns out that the Pikmin planet that Olimar went to in the prequel to this game, the first Pikmin game, is laden with tiny human objects, which are worth a lot of money back on the home planet. And our goal is to collect 10,000 Pokos of in-game currency worth of treasure and get the heck out of here. So this is day one. Day one is the tutorial day, and it's very long. So our first step is to skip it. So we're going to take a Pikmin here. Instead of doing everything that we're supposed to do, we're going to go into this wall, and we are going to throw this guy out of bounds. And then we're going to go, and we're going to drag him into the abyss. Sorry, Pikmin, but you got to go. This makes the game think that we've killed all of our Pikmin, and so the day ends automatically. Of course, this will require us to grow all of our Pikmin back later, but it turns out that causing an extinction to end the day, to break the tutorial cycle, is in fact worth it. The tutorial day is a very long day, and it turns out that even farming all of our Pikmin separately across multiple short days is faster RTA. And so, of course, this is very interesting, because it means that the Pikmin RTA speedrun is actually not the same as the min in-game day count, right? So traditionally we would maybe do pay off debt in 5 days, but we're actually going to pay off the debt in 8 days. And that's not the minimum amount of days needed to pay off the debt, but it is the fastest number of days RTA to pay off the debt. And so now, of course, there's these intro cutscenes of like, hey, you've collected a pellet, and normally these would play at very scripted times throughout the tutorial, but because we've kind of ended the day early, they're kind of now all playing in different places and out of whack. But again, the cost of skipping the tutorial means that we have to go and we have to grow our squad up. Notably, there's a 15 weight bag, so we gotta at least grow 15 Pikmin before we can progress. There you can see that I actually lured the bulborb closer to the ship. This is so that, because it walks faster than we carry it, so by luring it, that's actually a faster way of collecting the bulborb. So this is the amount that we can grow today, so we're gonna end the day here. Ended the day a little slow there by accident, but that's okay. So the reason why we end the day on day 2 is there's basically no more Pikmin that we can grow, and it's not enough. And so we're actually going to go to day 3. We're going to grow 4 more Pikmin. And then we are going to... And then we're going to end the day again, actually. So this day 3 segment is kind of long. Once these sprouts hit, we can end the day. Good. So we have now grown 13 Pikmin, which is the amount that we need, and we are ending the day. And now, starting on day 4, we can actually progress, and actually continue with the game. So now this has been about 4 minutes and change, which seems really long, but the tutorial is so long that this is actually much more efficient. There's also another thing that makes going to day 4 more efficient, which I will bring up very shortly, but I'm going to wait for it until it becomes relevant. Now that it is day 4, there are kind of more pellets and sprouts here, so for us to grow up even more of our Pikmin. These sprouts here that I'm going to pluck are going to be 14 and 15. We pluck them, and then we can finally make our way to the 15 bag. Yippee! All right, with the 15 bag down, we can finally kind of continue. There are 2 5 pellets here that we want to grow even more Pikmin. Pikmin are used to carry things and complete objectives and knock down walls and basically do everything. So you need a certain amount of number. You need a certain number of Pikmin to really be effective, and so that's what we're doing here. So that's going to become a 10 pellet, which those 10 Pikmin are going to grab. These are going to become 1 pellets, which are also going to be collected. And then here, on day 4, eggs spawn up here, and these eggs contain life-saving nectar. Maybe not life-saving, but they do turn my Pikmin leaves into flowers. So Pikmin have different maturity, and there are leaves, buds, and flowers. If we ignore buds for a moment, because buds are kind of weird, the 2 types that you see most are going to be leaves and flowers. So you see, currently we have leaf Pikmin. Flower Pikmin basically run faster and carry faster. And you can imagine in a speedrun that involves running to locations and then carrying objects, that your Pikmin actually being able to carry as fast and run as fast as they can is pretty important. Wow, that nectar got weird. That's okay. We didn't get quite all of them, which is actually not really world-ending. Even in a super serious run, it wouldn't really be world-ending, but then you can see that our flower Pikmin are moving much faster. And also, because those eggs don't spawn until day 4, by doing this kind of like rapid day ending to skip the tutorial, we've also basically enabled getting flowers a lot earlier in the progression than you normally would expect us to. So if you're playing this game casually, you're not getting flowers as fast as I'm getting flowers here. And so that is kind of another advantage to the whole sequence break that we're doing earlier. We're going to activate a cutscene that says, look, there's a treasure, but we're actually not going to get that treasure now. Don't worry, that treasure is really valuable and we're going to get it later, but it's just not efficient in the routing. We will return to Valley of Repose at a later date, and that's when we're going to collect most of the treasures here. In the tutorial, you would normally collect the battery, which is what that cutscene flashes, and that's actually supposed to be like the treasure that you collect during the tutorial. But because we did this sequence break, we're actually not going to collect it until much later. All right, so we're about to enter our first dungeon. We've been having our Pikmin work on this gate here, and it should be done basically just in time. Look at that. You see? That's the gorgeous timing of everything. And we are about to enter our first dungeon. So Pikmin 2 is mostly centered around dungeons, whereas Pikmin 1 is mostly above ground. A lot of the valuable treasures are going to be inside these sort of dungeons that you enter. So that's sort of where we're going to be going. So the first dungeon is called Emergence Cave. It is the first dungeon, and as such, it is somewhat of a tutorial dungeon, so it's pretty straightforward. Just kind of these small dwarf enemies guarding some treasures. So we just say, Lego my Egos, and kind of be done with it. You see that they have indeed Legoed my Ego, which is nice.
The C-stick is my favorite weapon.
The C-stick is pretty good. Now, there is a punishment to the C-stick. So one of the punishments is that if you C-stick Pikmin onto an enemy and the enemy shakes, they can actually leaf your men. They can leaf your if a flower Pikmin is shaken off, it can turn into a leaf. And of course, in a speed run, generating leaves is extremely bad. And so there are actually, Pikmin 2 is very interesting in that there are very, very real pros and cons of doing different like combat techniques, right? So there is actually an advantage to throwing versus C-sticking, for example. Like there is like a pretty cool risk reward. You know, Pikmin 2 is very technical in terms of like Pikmin management, so you get kind of these really cool things. So this globe, by the way, is what unlocks the next area, and it's a very interesting treasure because there is a rule in Pikmin that you can only have 100 Pikmin on the field, and that treasure weighs 101 Pikmin. So obviously, if we need to carry it, we're going to need to kind of break some rules or discover some new mechanics. And that's what we're doing right now. We are about to discover our second Pikmin type, which is purples. Purple Pikmin are basically our combat powerhouses. They are incredibly powerful and incredibly good at carrying things. They have the carry strength of 10 Pikmin. But this offset, which you can see is a very huge offset for the speed run, is look how slow they're running, you know? They're very slow. And so because of that, there is also like a speed trade-off. They are very, very, very powerful, but they are also kind of slow. And so there's a definite RTA trade-off. And keep in mind that because in the speedrun, you know, you're done with the level when the treasures are collected, so you want to really maximize how fast the treasure is moving. So note that like those enemies at the start, I didn't kill them at the start because that would have been slow. It's actually faster to get the treasure moving and then kill them. So there's a lot of this like being really cognizant of what needs to be done in order to get the level moving and then executing on that in a reasonable fashion. The ship just yelled at us because we collected a bug, and they're like, we're here to collect treasures. We're not here to collect bugs. And I said, true. But it turns out that bugs, while being individually not very worth a lot, you know, like these treasures are worth 200, whereas that bug was worth 2, right? However, we collect so many bugs that it actually does, you know, offset a handful of treasures. So across the entire speedrun, we get about 250 Pokos worth of enemies. And that's just routed in. Now, because some of the layouts, as you'll see, are actually going to be sort of procedurally generated, so there isn't, like, guaranteed, there's not a ton of guaranteed bug money, you know, so you actually have to kind of be aware of your bug total and how much you need and kind of adjust your gameplay based on that. So there's a lot of modular gameplay in Pikmin 2. By definition, because there's procedurally generated layouts, literally no two Pikmin runs are ever alike, right? So this speedrun that we're doing right now is actually going to be one of the many unique Pikmin 2 speedruns. The exact layouts and the exact situation that I find myself in is going to be completely unique. So, in any case, we have collected the globe, and so we have entered our second area. This area is, you know, we're going to be collecting a good number of treasures in this area, including sequence breaks to access some parts of this area that you're not supposed to. Pikmin 2 is designed such that you're supposed to revisit areas, right? You're supposed to come to this area, collect some stuff, and then come to another area and collect those things. But through sequence breaks, we've kind of figured out how to basically clear a good number of what we want in Awakening would in one go. And because this is pay off debt, where we just have to collect enough treasures to pay off our debt total and not all treasures, which is a very cool 100% variant of this game, but because we only need to collect treasures to pay off the debt, we basically are going to clear Awakening Wood in one day, from the perspective of getting the money that we need. I didn't. Missing that one shot as well. Okay, dude. Okay. I just didn't want to die. Thanks, dude. That was awesome. Sometimes those sheer grubs can be extremely finicky, and sometimes your Pikmin can be quite silly, so that happens.
How does this game's Pikmin AI like rank between like all the different like Pikmin game entries?
I think it's actually pretty good. So I think the thing about the Pikmin here is they will behave kind of independently, but they will behave in a very predictable manner. Like idle Pikmin will go and start knocking stuff, but because they kind of behave in a predictable manner, you can occasionally abuse their AI to get stuff done and use that to your advantage. Obviously, sometimes they'll just be ridiculous and silly and decide to not do stuff, but unfortunately, that's almost endemic to every single Pikmin game. I do think it's a little endearing, though, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I think it kind of does fall into the ethos of, like, you are shepherding, like, an army of these Pikmin that are doing your bidding, but they are, like, individual, like, finicky creatures. And so part of the management is kind of being aware of how the Pikmin can react to different situations, right? And so that's, even though they're not perfect, and even though they can like trip and stumble, and sometimes they can be kind of obnoxious, like it's part of like the broader like requirement of the run. You know, you have to manage your Pikmin really well. That being said, there's a lot of issues with Pikmin AI in every single game, so my personal opinion is that this game is the best. In any case, this is Hole of Beasts. Hole of Beasts is, you know, it's still what I would consider to be, by and large, a tutorial level, and that, you know, there's not too many hard sub-levels, but for the speedrun's sake, there are going to be some interesting things that are going to be cool to show you, and some cool, fast ways of completing sub-levels. So, we got a nice 100 treasure here, and then that's all. There's only one treasure on this floor. And then on the next floor, we're going to get more purples. You know, purple Pikmin are extremely good at combat, and so they're very useful when trying to manage enemies on the floor as in terms of obstacles. But you only need so many purples because we don't need to get, you know, there are reasons in other categories to get even more purples, but if everything goes according to plan, knock on wood, right? It's marathon running and all that. But if everything goes according to plan, then these are the only purples that we're going to have for the entire run. You can basically pay off the debt pretty handily with just these 20 purples. Purples are useful, but you know that you don't actually need a ton of them. So, yeah. So this is sub-level 3. This is to teach you that fire Pikmin are very good at handling fire. Or, I said fire Pikmin, red Pikmin. So, you know, there's all these fire geysers, but red Pikmin are immune to these fire geysers. And so we basically don't need to handle them at all. I C-stick Pikmin into the fire geysers, but not really on purpose, just because I wanted to C-stick Pikmin onto the treasure faster. And then you always want to keep in mind that a level is done when the farthest treasure, when the farthest treasure gets in. So you always want to get the farthest stuff moving the fastest before getting to the other things, right? So the exact timing that this first treasure here gets in is somewhat of no consequence. As long as it gets in before the last treasure, you basically multitasked it, and therefore collecting it was literally 0 time loss. Whereas what really matters is when this last treasure gets in, and that actually determines the length of the sub.
How do you feel about like the dungeons compared to more of like the overworld movement? Because I know that like the game is like kind of split in half, where you go into the dungeon and then time doesn't pass in the overworld, and you just kind of go through these individual floors and then you leave and then you continue doing stuff and meandering in the overworld. Like, what do you prefer?
I think I definitely, I mean, I'm a big Pikmin 2 fan, so I really like the dungeons, but I think I understand people who like both. Check this. That's a fun little trick. Where you can time that dismiss in order to kill that Bulborb extremely quickly, and so that happened. I also, sorry, I'll answer your question. There wasn't a lock load going on this floor. Sorry. Where like I also know based on the generative layout where those little Matite enemies are, and so I can use that to nectar all of my extremely slow purples. So there actually was a lot that just went on there. Right, I basically multitasked getting the treasures and killing the bulborb and then nectaring my purples kind of all at once, right? So that's that kind of optimization that's extremely powerful. I personally really like, so going back to your question, which is a good question. I personally really like the caves in that I think it really tests things like reading layouts and close quarters combat. And pause again because I want to see if I can get this quick kill. Hold on. That seemed okay. Nice, we got it. Ding, ding, ding. All right. The queen is dead. Long live the queen. All right. So that is a timing quick kill. So if you try to do that at home, kids, you're probably gonna have all your Pikmin squished. But that works because we're C-sticking our Pikmin onto the enemy in a certain frame window where the Empress doesn't actually register that we have all of those Pikmin on it, so she does a little wiggle. And during that wiggle, she drops her armor, and we just nuke her into the abyss. So that's cool. You can miss that, even at the speedrun level, so I'm pretty happy that I got that. Any case, sorry, every single sub-level has something to talk about, man. I'm sorry about that. It's very easy to get lost in talking about all the cool intricacies of every single sub-level. But that was a pretty good Holo Beast. That was actually an incredibly fast Holo Beast. Okay, we cooked. But no, so I think caves train something that's very different than above ground in Pikmin. You know, like, one thing that I will say is even though there are a lot of similarities between all of the 4 Pikmin games that are out right now, I guess 5 if you include Hey Pikmin, but I kind of mean the 4 like console games. Love you, Brandino, who, if you're in chat, he's the Hey Pikmin runner. But like across all 4 console games, even though the mechanics are broadly speaking similar, like in a general sense, I mean, they're all Pikmin games for sure. I feel like the speedrunnings are always very different. So like in Pikmin 2, it really is all about how fast you can read like procedurally generated sublevels and manage close quarter combat and sort of handle micro objectives. You know, and by micro objectives, I mean like, you know, you're only really getting 1 to 3 treasures at a given time. Right? Whereas in Pikmin 1 or in Pikmin 3, like you have to figure out how to get like dozens of fruits across a very large area, but it's also less RNG. It's kind of a different, your execution and what you're being tested on really is different. So I think in that sense, I've been a Pikmin 2 runner for many years, and I really appreciate like reading the procedurally generated layouts. And so like I can personally say that that's my preference. But I do think that all 4 of the Pikmin games are very different in terms of the speedrun. Like, I don't think there are people who run all the games. I mean, I actually do have a speedrun of all of the 4 Pikmin games on the leaderboards. But since I have tried to run all of them, I can say, like, oh my gosh, they're so different. Like, if you like Pikmin 1 speedrunning, you're not guaranteed to like Pikmin 2 speedrunning or Pikmin 3 speedrunning. Or vice versa, you know, like they're all so different. But that's why if anyone's watching, I would actually recommend like checking out the different runs and just seeing what appeals to you. If you're like, wow, I wish I could control gigantic carrots and have them do my bidding. Which, I mean, let's be real, we've all been there, right? I would just recommend like just playing a whole bunch of different games and seeing what, you know, strikes your fancy, you know? I think there's a lot to offer here. This is another really good example of, this floor is a really good example of like what you want to get done first. Like you really want to get that bottle cap moving, right? Because that was going to be the thing that takes forever. And whereas that other treasure just gets in whenever it gets in. And that's not really what actually drove how fast I completed this level. All right, we're moving at quite a clip. So this cave is called White Flower Garden, and it's called White Flower Garden for a very specific reason. And that reason is there are white flowers in this garden. And the white flowers are very important because they will give what I consider to be the most important Pikmin type in the run, which is white Pikmin. I suppose that's maybe obvious, but white Pikmin are awesome. They're basically what make the speedrun bearable. White Pikmin are powerhouses in multiple respects. They have multiple abilities that are incredibly good. One of the abilities, of course, is to dig underground treasures, which the game gives you a semi-tutorial of that right here. This treasure is underground until it's not. I'm going to whistle these because they are leaves, and as we've talked about before, leaves are bad and must be punished. Punished by sweet, sweet nectar. We have some other Pikmin that are not whites, that's fine. We nectar them up, and then another property of white Pikmin, their most important property, is they are the fastest runners and carriers in the game. They run and carry so fast. I mean, you can already just see here with Olimar and the the white is basically keeping a pace, and the purples are just so slow. And white Pikmin carrying things super quickly is huge. It's like incredible because this game is about collecting things to the ship. So of course, your fastest collectors are your strongest soldiers, for sure. And so because of that, they carry so fast that there's a lot of shenanigans you can get away with. That make them, they're probably your most important type. They are your most precious resource, probably. Wow, this is just the worst RNG ever. I love that I got that in a marathon, because this run was actually like ahead of PB going into this floor. So I love that this layout exists, because it reminds you that ultimately the universe is uncaring and unfeeling. So that's awesome. Look how far away this is. But look how fast the whites carry it. Like, look at them go.
They're track stars on screen right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Any case, normally you don't have to carry it across the entirety of this big room. This is considered pretty awful RNG. Notably one of the worst scenarios, but that's okay. It's good to kind of show how the game can be mean on top of the game being nice. And this is still pretty fast, all things considered. Any case, so that was 4. But yeah, so whites and prioritizing whites on carries is going to be very big, right? Because now you kind of have another variable in your calculations when you do levels, right? Because before, you put reds on things, right? And reds carry the same speed as blues and yellows. Whereas whites and purples are kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, where purples are really slow carriers and whites are really fast carriers. But then when you're trying to route, you not only have to route what treasures you go for first, but also what Pikmin you put on the treasures. There's kind of an extra layer of routing. We're actually throwing some of our whites onto that Snaggered head because it's worth 10 Pokos, and we kind of want it. So...
Yeah, I feel like you were talking about, like with the calculations, I feel like sometimes it might be better to carry at the normal speed and then just carry a bunch with like the whites, right? Or maybe it's just faster to carry the main thing back with the whites and then just get a bunch of smaller stuff with like the purples or whatever if they're really close, right? Like I feel like that type of routing is just super cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all, these are the first couple floors and or the first couple caves, and so they're kind of intrinsically a little bit more simplistic, but we're very quickly going to get into a lot more complicated, like sort of late game caves, especially because starting now, we're actually going to start doing caves out of order. And so, then the fun really will begin. So now that we got the knapsack, so the knapsack is the most important treasure in the game because it allows us to basically execute a whole bunch of sequence breaks. One sequence break is what's called knapsack exploits, where you can have... So the knapsack allows Pikmin to pick you up, and they will try to carry you back to the ship. The thing is, while they try to carry you back to the ship, they can also carry you to locations that you could not get prior. I say that as I try to do it. Nope, it still is getting cranky. Please take me up this... Thank you very much. Okay, so you see, so I got up to this ledge, and Olimar can't jump, so... Basically, the fact that I'm up here where I am is pretty unique. I'm about to execute what's called Early Blues, which is a huge sequence break that involves me going out of bounds, so I would appreciate your patience while I execute this. And I messed up, and that is perfectly okay. In fact, I cannot go to Sunset because I forgot to save. That's awesome. The good news is I have a backup here. I tried to do, so there's a new fast way of doing that skip, and I messed it up in the marathon, which is totally normal, but that's okay. I'm going to do something that that I think most newer runners don't know how to do, but you can clip into the scales. What I did there was just clip into the scales. And this is to get blue Pikmin early, but you can actually clip into the scales with any cutscene. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. I forgot. I did not activate this cutscene. Oh, it's over. Dang. Okay. That's unfortunate. Alright, here's how we're gonna do this. It's okay. I have a save file. Dang. That sucks.
I feel like that's getting 1-2 punched with like the most like unfortunate occurrences at one time.
So there's so much I have to explain to chat because there's so much that happened there. There's actually so much that happened there. So one is on that first cutscene, I went back inbounds. Or I went out of bounds, but then I clipped back inbounds because I was trying to do this new thing where I execute the skip extremely fast, which is super fast, but also a little bit more accident prone. And because it's a marathon, of course, the more accident prone thing was prone to an accident, which happens. That's okay. But then what happened is there's a cutscene basically that I have not played that I intentionally skip, but it requires Louis to stay away from the red onion. And so when I went for the backup, Louis approached the red onion and it kind of just skewered everything a little bit. But that's okay. In any case, I'm back out of bounds. I'm maneuvering. I take a nap in a critical location, and the nap warps you to the nearest spawn point, which happens to be close to the blue onion. And we now have blue Pikmin long before we should ever possibly have blue Pikmin. Honestly, should probably have not tried to remix that in the marathon, but, you know, I was crazy. What can I say?
I appreciate the amount of cooking that you attempted to do, even if it didn't work out.
And basically that out of bounds movement I took very slow, but you can take it very fast. And so that's what I tried to do. But obviously, you have to stay out of bounds. So if you clip back in bounds, it's over. So now I need to wait for a blue knapsack, which is a 1 in 3 chance. So this is actual coin flipping live on Games Done Quick. Can I please get a blue knapsack? Thank you. All right. So you can see this blue knapsack also takes me to a ledge that I'm not supposed to be able to access. And so this entire split, we've accessed several areas that we have not been supposed to be able to access. And so that has kind of completely changes the routing here, right? So now Snaggered Hole, which is going to be the next cave, is supposed to be like a late game cave. But because of all these sequence breaks, we're basically going to be doing it next. It's going to be our third cave. So we're now starting to do caves extremely out of order. Oh, there's the dice, by the way. Hello, Mr. Dice.
I almost forgot.
All right. Gates down, and we're in Snaggered Hole, everybody. And so what's going to happen is, wow, that lost so much time. I am a little bit sad, but it's okay. Our pace was so freaking good that I'm honestly not even worried about it. From a marathon perspective, we're still cooking. Any case, so now we're in Snaggered Hole. Snaggered Hole is incredibly RNG heavy and an extremely messy cave with a lot of variants, but it is quite fun. These orange bulborbs will wake up and chase you, but we can actually use that fact to make the orange bulborb come to us, right? So, fast food service. And so that gets the treasure in earlier. And there is a treasure up here, but I didn't mention it back in White Flower Garden. But we actually didn't collect all the treasures in White Flower Garden, and we're also not going to collect all the treasures here. The first 2 caves, Emergence Cave and Hole of Beast, are actually the only 2 levels where we collect everything. There are treasures in the rest of the game that are just not very expensive. They don't actually give us a lot of value, and because this speedrun is all about value collection, we basically just depryo any treasure that is not massive. So that's why, you know, we're not going to cave complete. So this is Nugget Hole 2. We have to cross the water, but don't worry, they can do it. Except for the white that decided not to do it. That's frustrating. I don't know why that white decided not to swim across. It decided, I don't want to swim across, which to me is a very funny decision. If I were a white, I would choose not to drown, but this is where we were talking earlier. How's the Pikmin AI? Oh, come on. Don't do that.
I feel like maybe, like, this game knows where it is right now, and the white just wanted, like, the attention. They wanted, like, the Twitch chat to be like, yo, that guy didn't make it, Lamau. Look at this loser.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. Why is that not being fully carried by Pikmin? Okay, that's some interesting phenomena happening right now. But I'm going to keep this treasure on screen because while it crosses the water on this water bridge, if you don't actually look at it, it can mess itself up, which is kind of funny. So now that I've done that, note that I've also multitasked getting more whites, which is of critical importance as well. One other thing to keep in mind, why that white death was so devastating is red Pikmin you can grow because they're in an onion, but white Pikmin you can only grow from flowers, right? So if you lose white Pikmin, they are extremely hard to replenish. So I'm basically now at -1 white Pikmin for basically the remainder of the run. And offsetting that -1 is actually quite difficult. Now, one white death, of course, is not a run killer, but it is like, you know, suboptimal. And these suboptimal strings, right? Like how many Pikmin you lose and, you know, sort of how much money you have and how many Pikmin you have. All of these variables come together to kind of make the run easier or harder, right? So I like to describe the payoff that speedrun is kind of complicated. So I kind of like to describe it on like several axes. So one axis is, of course, time, right? Like how fast are you physically moving? And that's important, but keep in mind that the payoff that speedrun requires you to get 10,000 Pokos. And so the other axis is, of course, money. It doesn't matter how fast you're moving if you don't actually collect enough money to end the speedrun. The last axis is Pikmin count, right? Like the more Pikmin you lose, the less resources you will have in the future. And so you kind of have to balance just always keeping your resources relatively high. This is somewhat obnoxious. A lot of enemies. So this is why purples are good, right? You see all these enemies and you're like, wow, this is problematic. And then you just say, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those runs where a lot of the small stuff just like compounds and compounds and compounds until like it ends up like mattering if you're like being really suboptimal with your gameplay. Is that like the case?
Yeah, basically that you got it exactly right. So you definitely get punished for your transgressions. In that, like, if you lose a bunch of Pikmin, like, even if you don't lose time now, you will lose time later. Also, if you're wondering, did you know that falling beetle was there and has the treasure? The answer was yes, I did. And you know that based on... So the first treasure that we got in Hole of Beasts after the Ember's Quick Kill, by the way, was the treasure gauge, which is that little gauge in the bottom right. And that tells you where the treasures are. And even if there's falling enemies that has treasures, they will still trigger the treasure gauge. And so you can actually look at the gauge and use that to determine where all the treasures are. Despite me sort of hamming that combat a little, that was actually still pretty good.
Yeah, and speaking of losing time getting treasures, you're almost out of time if you want to submit to GDQX at TwitchCon. You can go to gdq.gg/submit to find the submissions for those. They close in literally 30 minutes, about 29 minutes. So this is basically your last chance to submit to that. So don't lose time on that. But if you would like treasures, maybe consider using your Prime on twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick, where you are right now, hopefully. So if you like this content that we're doing pretty much every single day, you know, you can maybe drop a sub, gift sub, primer if you have it, you know, exclamation prime. But it helps support GDQ so we can keep doing this every single day.
Heck yeah. That's what I like to hear. So this floor is a very fun mini game. So there are all of these bulborbs that fall from the ceiling, and only one of them has the delicious treasure that we need. And so that to me is kind of like a little funny mini game that you play. I didn't get this guy. That's okay. But so that's a little fun mini game. It's all of these bulborbs fall down, and you have to figure out which one has. Connected. Tell everyone to refresh. Connected. Tell everyone to refresh. I have reached. You know what? I see the It's okay. I'm back. If people still say I've DC'd, I have not DC'd. Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it looked like we had a small little internet blip, but it should be fine. It should be back.
Sure. Oh, you're good. I think this was. I messed up. It's okay. You know what? It's fine. I grew the extra whites, so it doesn't matter. I'm so used to not growing those whites. It's okay. It's all good. All right. So we are unfortunately going to have to sacrifice our Pikmin in the name of this upcoming quick kill. This is an enemy that's kind of tough. The pileated snagret. It's big and mean. There is a way of killing this in one cycle, but unfortunately you have to let it eat your men. Because during that eating cycle, it has now exhausted, of course, all of its HP, and it's dead. So, goodbye.
Is there like optimal Pikmin to lose there?
Yeah. So the good news is that not only are there optimal Pikmin to lose, but it will actually select the optimal Pikmin to lose for you. It will actually preferentially try to eat red Pikmin, right? And so I was mentioning earlier, right, that you can grow red Pikmin, right? You can grow red Pikmin and you can grow blue Pikmin in the red and blue onions. You cannot grow red and white Pikmin as easily, right? You require those flowers, which are few and far between. So red and blue Pikmin are more expendable, and purple and white Pikmin are, generally speaking, valuable. That is just kind of the rule of thumb. The good news is that it will try to eat the reds. So it will try to give you an ideal situation.
Wow, you answered the question I was just about to ask next.
No, it's all good, yeah. It's a logical question. And in case we have kind of a complicated above ground segment, and so those are always fun. So we now have our blues with the onion, right? So that's fun. But now we actually have to collect a good number of treasures before we're ready, because we're about to enter Bulblack's kingdom, but that's going to be the last treasure that we enter in the area. So we kind of have to get everything else completed and done before we do that. So there's a globe that we need to collect to access a future area. So got to get that done first. And there's also a whole bunch of treasures out here that we haven't really spent any resources collecting yet. And so one is a buried guy in this pot. We're going to throw a purple, 2 whites, and 2 reds, and they're going to get started digging on that underground. We need to actually also, another little mini side quest here is we need to grow blues. Because blues are going to be a very important Pikmin in the future, and so we need to grow some blues, and so we're just kind of collecting some bugs for blues. Sorry, we need to. This is a little glint beetle that we use to get nectar. And so I'm using that to nectar my men. And now this gate that we have just completed gives us access to the globe. And so this globe we want to carry with a bunch of whites and purples, etc., etc. Then we're back at spawn with our other captain. We're going to throw some blues on some objects so that we can get those moving. And obviously moving towards the blue onion. And then we're going to use another knapsack trick actually to get up this stump. So this is a two-part knapsack, right? So first we say, nap, get me over there. And then we say, nap, get me up here. So we actually get it all the way up there, which is, of course, a location that you're really not supposed to be, especially not right now. But we tell the Pikmin to take us up there, and the Pikmin, the Pikmin oblige. So that's why the knapsack's broken. No, but the Pikmin really want to carry you to the nearest waypoint, and they will actually scale walls in order to take you to the nearest waypoint. So, shout out to Pikmin. They are mountaineers. They will do what needs to be done, and I appreciate that about them. I think as you can see that we're getting a bunch of material into the blue onion to help grow our blue count, which is obviously huge and important. In the meantime, the globe is coming in, so we kind of see that these three treasures are coming in. Those are the three main treasures that we need to collect right now, so that's good. In any case, so now this treasure's in, and now we just have to kind of wait for we have to wait for the globe. The globe is really slow, so that's why getting the globe started early is extremely important. So here's the globe. We've done it. We're forgetting a treasure. Are we forgetting a treasure? No, we're not. No, we didn't. We got the strawberry. We're good. For some reason, I banished the strawberry from my mind, but we almost assuredly collected it. No, we didn't. We're all good. Anyway, so now Olimar's up here. So hilariously, we can whistle our squad, and Bulblack's kingdom on the top of cave can be entered. And as long as the Pikmin are in your party, they all come with you into the cave. So even though we only got the captain up on that stump, we've basically been able to bring our entire squad in there. So that is pretty great. So unfortunately, based on this route, you have to bring the blue leaves, which is, oh, hello. That guy walked a little farther than I wanted him to. I'm like, dude, back off a little.
Is this game the same as some of the other games where if you whistle a party, you walk away, they'll still be in your party for a little bit? Is that how that works?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so they'll be within your party within a certain radius. And the radius is, frankly, extremely generous. Because, same way where, you can think casually, even if you're not doing all these shenanigans, Pikmin will trail behind you. You usually run faster than a lot of Pikmin walk, right? So if you keep running, the Pikmin will trail behind you, living their lives, but they'll still be in your party. It's pretty lenient in that respect. So notice that, of course, I'm trying to prioritize carrying everything with whites, right? And that's because whites carry the fastest. And that's kind of part of what routing I was kind of talking about earlier. Let's see if I get into trouble here. No, dang it, only a little bit of trouble. That's okay. I wanted to see if I could get away with not killing any of the fire guys. And the answer is basically yes, but I was trying to... So I'm going to now... This is actually a good segue to talk about hazard timing. So hazard timing in Pikmin 2 is manipulable. And so what that means is hazards, when they are off screen, fire geysers freeze within whatever cycle they're in, the on-off cycle. And electric gates will finish their cycle and then stay off. But basically, by keeping things on screen and off screen, you can basically manipulate the cycle of the hazards. And so there's a lot of very fast things you can do. Because, of course, taking time to kill a hazard, while you can do it, that has its own trade-offs, right? So, so finding a way to not do that is ideal. Okay. Hold on, I just want to just make sure. Oh! Okay, dude, chill. Oh, jeez.
Well, if anyone in chat is listening and they're thinking about chilling themselves, maybe you can chill in the official GDQ Discord. And there's also a role you can get. So you can hang out with other people who enjoy Hotfix, called the Hotfix Enjoyer role. So if you join, make sure you get that because you'll be notified about all the different Hotfix shows that go on for the week, and you'll be hearing about all of the weekend events that we have, because we have a ton of them.
I love that segue. Yeah, for sure. Definitely check out all the fun activities that GDQ has to offer.
I might be a little bit biased.
So as you can see, oh yeah. Oh, there's the hole. We don't do this floor. This floor is very silly, so we don't do it. If you notice though, like that treasure bounced and those anodes like almost sparked and killed everybody. So I also talked about this. So if you saw earlier, fire, Pikmin will catch on fire, but you can basically save them. Oh my goodness, this looks incredibly weird. You know, I'm just gonna come out and say, okay, this looks incredibly weird, but it turns out it's just really normal and actually quite good. So that's cool. I can appreciate that. Looks weird, but it's actually just a chill floor. I'm just a chill guy, said this floor. So you see how you can save, oh! Are they dying? No, they're not dying. I'm gonna save them. Oh, one red. Well, that red, honestly, that red kind of wasn't that chill. So think about that. You know, gotta think about that. But okay, this was generally solidly played. Except I forgot about the bomb. Luckily the whites run very quickly, so the whites were able to escape the bomb. The red was slack, and so, you know. But what I was gonna say, yeah, no. But yeah, I think there's a lot of different. I definitely forgot what I was gonna say earlier because there was a lot that happened on this floor, and I just definitely hyper fixated on what was going on at the moment. Oh, this upcoming boss is the Emperor Bullblacks, companion to the Empress Bullblacks that we beat earlier. The funny thing about the Emperor Bullblacks is they forgot to code armor on the Emperor Bullblacks, and so you can actually kill the Emperor by doing this, and it's just already dead. And the reason why you're like, wow, that's insane, and the reason why that just works like that is because they just didn't code armor on the wake up. So like during the wake up animation, you can just say, oh, I would like to put all my purples on it, please. And it's like, well, all right. It doesn't stop you, and so then it just dies.
I mean, yeah, like, just didn't know the matchup, I guess. Like,
exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, because it has such a long wake-up animation, and during that entire wake-up animation, you're just stacking damage with incredibly powerful Pikmin. And so, for Empress, though, and for other bosses, if you try to do that, you're just going to get destroyed, because they just have armor to prevent you from cheesing them. But for some reason, I assume it must be like an accident, but for some reason, this boss is cheesable. And now if you accidentally wake up the boss without cheesing him, then he goes back to being like a fairly regular boss, which is dangerous. But because you can just cheese him on wake up, it definitely can get very silly. I think technically, if you throw them fast enough, you can actually kill Emperor with 11 purples. If you throw 11 purples on him super quick, he actually dies before he can get an attack out. So that's your fun fact for sure. All right, that was pretty good. Only one death. Also, I happened to keep track that was a 7 flat BK, which is quite good. Randomly very good for a marathon.
Chat, this guy might be the GOAT.
I might, there's a list, but I appreciate it. No, that was good. So one thing that I'm looking at is I'm looking at my money, right? So 4922 is acceptable, but it is on the low side. Like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I'm going to have to get some more money in the next area. And so, with the globe, we unlock Perplexing Pool. And we say we don't want to go there yet. So we actually go back to Valley of Repose. And the reason is because we have blues, we can access the rest of the Valley of Repose area. Now, Perplexing Pool has yellows, and I hadn't said this yet, but the cool thing is we actually don't get yellows in the speedrun. We just skip them entirely. It turns out that you really need blues to access areas, and everything else is auxiliary. So, because of that, we actually can enter Valley of Repose with our blues and get everything that we need to get here. And now I know what you're asking, Cap. Why go here? I mean, you can go here, but why should you go here? And to that I say, great question, imaginary individual. The reason for that is because you can grow more whites here. So you see, it's all about the resources. You can get more white Pikmin here, and white Pikmin as the fastest carriers are your most valuable resource. And so that makes a huge difference. Later, you get 15 more, right? And so would you rather do a cave with, with 15 whites or with 30? And the answer is 30. And I think we have 23, so we're probably gonna have 33. But yeah, having 33 versus, 18 or 23 is huge. So it's worth doing Valley of Repose just to get even higher white Pikmin count.
Imaginary Shatter, have you considered the time save?
Yes. Sorry, you actually cut out on my headphones there, so I totally 100% missed your question.
Oh, I said imaginary chatter. Imagine the time save that you got.
Oh yes, imagine. Just imagine. Any case, now that we have, so because we were talking about that, I completely skipped the crazy thing that just happened, by the way. A whole bunch of crazy stuff just happened, and I didn't talk about any of it. So you remember in the very beginning when we killed a whole bunch of reds to skip the tutorial? The day automatically ends on the first treasure that you collect in this tutorial area. And we didn't actually collect the treasure when we were supposed to the first time we were here. So that treasure that we collected, that ends the day. The first treasure that you collect in this area ends the day. It really can be any treasure. But because of that, we basically nectared our blue Pikmin while that treasure was coming in, because we knew that treasure was going to force end of day. And so that's why that segment was kind of weird, where it's like, hey, why did you get one treasure and nectar and then end the day? That end of day is automatic. You can't stop that from happening. And so we basically route, if that end of day is going to happen, what's the most useful thing that we can do during that period? And the answer is nectar all of our blues, because we have 60 and they need to be nectared. Okay. Let's kind of just these sticking purples to a location where, once again, they should probably not be. That's okay. That's okay. So then this is a plug. This will actually drain the water in the area so that more Pikmin can progress. And this is actually somewhat important because that water needs to drain before a treasure gets moving. Otherwise, the white Pikmin carrying it will drown. So that's why that matters. Blue Pikmin count is looking a little light here, but that's okay. It'll carry, that's the only thing. Cool. Alright, so you see, that cuts in that plate that was saying, hey, you've drained the lake, and I'm like, excellent. Then I am going to get Pikmin working on this bridge that we need to cross. And then I'm going to use yet another knapsack to, access a cave that we're not supposed to access. So you can kind of see a trend, right? So what the knapsack does is you can climb up a wall, and normally you'd have to knock down a gate to get there, right? Oh my goodness, imagine all the resources. Oh gosh, you got to get Pikmin over there, you got to access a gate. Now that we have somebody up there, though, we can kind of play knapsack and whistle games to enter the cave without too much shenanigans. Meanwhile, of course, all of the treasures that we had them working on while we were getting up to that cave are basically collecting, if not moving. And so that was, so this is basically ending the segment. So now we have everything that we need, and look, our handy dandy blues. are back on the ground, and so that treasure will actually stay there for later. But we got our blue Pikmin that we wanted. And so as you can see, as we move to the cave, we're basically reamassing our squad that we use to multitask a whole bunch of things. See, we've rejoined, and all 100 of our Pikmin are going to be able to enter this subterranean complex, which is one of the crazier caves in the run, which is a lot of fun. All right, so I saw on the come down, this is actually pretty uncomplicated. There's a little alcove off to the side that has the buried treasure. Now, because I'm just kind of more familiar with the spawning algorithm, I just can look at a come down and be like, yep, I saw this empty alcove. I know that that treasures like to spawn in these empty alcoves, and I can kind of just immediately adjust. And so that's what I did here. I'm kind of bummed that I couldn't get any bugs here, though, because I know that I am a little low, but the good news is if I get too low, there are other fun backups, you know? So there's a treasure route that we generally follow, but obviously if you're low on money, there are like emergency treasures that you can get. Those kind of emergency low value treasures that otherwise you wouldn't really want to bother using, but that are generally serviceable.
I've never even considered the like concept of like backup treasures in this run. I didn't like think about that at all.
Oh yeah, I mean, because depending on the RNG of how many bugs you can collect, you can find yourself in trouble actually money-wise. I mean, there's plenty of variance. Did that guy miss? Honestly, shout out to that guy missing. He just missed again. Oh my gosh. He's doing whatever the opposite of cooking is. So in any case, do you see, so if you look at the distribution, see how the treasures are moving kind of somewhat in lockstep? Obviously, they're not moving at the exact same. Where is this hole? Oh, I'm getting memed on. Okay, so procedural generation normally follows a very strict logic, but it can get very wacky. And you're seeing it get a little wacky here. I was busy commentating and I didn't immediately clock that I was getting absolutely memed on by the game, but this is what getting memed on looks like. Look where the hole is. I'm done with the floor, but I have to waste, 10 seconds. All the way over here. Thanks, man. Couldn't put the hole closer to me? Not even a little? All right, so sub-level 3 has 3 treasures, and so we're going to have to do a lot of multitasking to make sure that all 3 treasures are moving at the clip that we want. And this is the most insanely good RNG that I've ever witnessed. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. So that's good. It's not actually that good. But it's better than a poke in the eye, as I like to say. So first there's a combat with a buried beetle that has the gear, and so that's what we want to first close. Doing some combat, we do this, that's good, this kills the guy. Next, we have our other treasures over here. I'll be interested to see what the distributions here look like. Okay, that's an A, that's good. Oh man, I'm kind of sauced up, I'm not gonna lie. This is good. So, a layout is done good where there's multiple treasures, but notice how it's being engineered such that, like, all of the treasures are basically mostly coming in at roughly the same time, and that's how you know that you've engineered a good sublevel. So you see how these 2 treasures are coming in at the same time? That is why I went to the far treasure first. So I did that combat so that those purples carry this gear just in time for the other treasures to collect. And that's how you know that you executed this gorgeously. This is one of my favorite floors to execute, for sure. It's just so cool seeing all the treasures kind of coming at the same time in the end for a very reasonable floor. Oh, very fun. I do love Subterranean Complex has some really cool caves and some really fun treasures. In any case, this is our nice little rest floor. Say hello to the rest floor. Hello, rest floor. This rest floor requires us to get some more whites. These are our whites that we're going to grab. These are the last whites that we're going to grow in the entire game. So let's hope that they last us, right? We grow these, and then we break this egg and hope that it isn't weird. It's not weird. We nectar all of our whites, and once we do that, we can say we're done, which we are. All right. Unfortunately, we do not have the layout that lets me do the funny rim walk. In fact, honestly, I should have done it anyway for marathon purposes. Just like show the rim walk and then just run off and go to the hole. There is a fun way of running on the rim of this sublevel, and I feel bad for not showing that off. But hit me up on my stream at twitch.tv/CapCapRevenge, and you can see me do another speedrun of this game in which I will do it. So, maybe that's some incentive to love me. So,
I think everyone in chat should just be follow me already. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit of a hot take, but I think this run has been super dope.
It's kind of spooky. It dropped a bomb, and I didn't give it permission to do that. So. A little bit spooky. That's okay, though. Let's see what the story over here is. Oh, man. Okay, so what I'm about to perform, so this floor is very scary, right? There's electricity, there's bombs, there's poison, there are dweevils that will pick up your treasure and ruin your life and burn your crops. I'm going to do what's called a smash and grab. So, let's try it. It's fine. Move. Oh, shoot. Nope. It's fine. A couple Pikmin died, but in general, the treasures have been smashing, they've been grabbed. I accidentally whistled Pikmin off the treasures, so that kind of made that a little bit rough. But I would say overall, for a lot of enemies there, that's oh, come on. Yeah, it's okay. A couple Pikmin died. That's okay. That happens. Sometimes Pikmin die. The price of going fast, unfortunately. This is very weird. What the heck? Okay. This is awful. Just, might as well be honest. This is not good. So there's this tower, and there's this roaming groink and this tower groink, and they both want to ruin my life. So that's annoying.
I think the video game trying to ruin your life might be a little bit mean and evil.
Yeah. Oh, come on, dude. Don't do this to me. Okay, a little bit of silliness, but that's okay. The game is just being a little silly. Just a little. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna hope that works. Sometimes in Pikmin 2, you just have to kind of hope that works. Good strat. Hoping. Nice. Yeah. Cool. All right. This Groink is just gonna, instead of killing him or figuring out what to do, I'm just gonna kind of lock him in this cycle of violence. Also, that blue Pikmin by his heels is putting in some crazy work right now. Oh no, the return of the Grunk! Honestly, I would say earlier on the last floor, a bunch of Pikmin did in fact get grunked. There was some grunkage going on there. Sad but true. All right, the last treasure is moving really fast. Uh-oh. I do not know where that. I do not know what single Pikmin died. Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? But that's fine, I guess. Like,
hopefully, it doesn't matter.
That happened. No, I mean, you want to kind of keep the deaths to a minimum. This is going to be a sub 10 subterranean complex in a marathon. I like that. Sub 10 minutes is generally speaking a good metric for you did okay. And this is going to be a sub 10 in a marathon, so that's good. Especially considering that there was some chaos earlier, so, you know. Yeah, I just don't. Sometimes that'll happen. Like sometimes you'll just see the Pikmin counter go down, and you'll be like, "What did I do?" I didn't even do anything. So that was Subterranean Complex. Super fun cave, full of bombs, poison, electricity, chaos. Really hard to execute quickly, but it's a lot of fun. Now we're off to Frontier Cavern, the other cave. We also need to collect this guy. That is the perfect sea stick, by the way. Some people won't realize how elite that just was, but I basically sea-sticked the exact number of blues from my party onto that treasure. Like, just free-handing.
I was going to mention that. Like, that was actually so cool.
Thank you. The secret is to play this game too much. You should all join the Pikmin speedrunning Discord and also learn how to play this game too much so that you can do sick Pikmin management.
Yeah, I would learn how to do that, except the only category that I think I would ever run of Pikmin is like the challenge mode of this game.
Challenge mode is also a very interesting. Like challenge mode both has a score attack, which has an incredibly healthy competition, or there's even like a challenge mode all level speedrun. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can speedrun this game. Both there's like the ILs, like the challenge mode ILs, as well as other. Yeah, I mean, as well as just other kind of fun ways of speedrunning this game. So, you know, I always suggest to anybody, you know, if you think anything about Pikmin seems interesting, you know, always feel free to stop in and find out what this game has to offer you, because I think there's a lot that this game can offer a lot of people. And so it's always really fun to talk about. Really, oh, okay, there's a lot of doodlebugs. So those doodlebugs over there are gonna ruin my life. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on that, because those are peak life ruiners. Keep an eye on those. Okay. Come on. Okay, cool. Got some bugs as well, so that's good. So those doodlebugs run around and just spurt poison everywhere, and that can be very annoying because it can just kind of slow down what is otherwise sort of a very clean flow. So both of those treasures are buried. Luckily, I actually have all the spawn points for where those treasures can possibly be, and I'm given randomly generated layout memorized, which sounds really impressive, but there's like 7 locations. but it can really help, like, but it can help navigate the floor, right? That's how I knew after loading the first treasure where to go for the second treasure. Wow, this is awful. Look at all those enemies. Holy cow. Holy cannoli. You need to relax. Okay, thanks. He kills one. Okay, we kind of have to go on a rescue mission here. I'm saying rescue kind of in advance because all of these guys are going to eat my treasures, but we got to get the treasures moving first, right? So. Nice, okay. This was mostly unproblematic. Could have maybe engineered the carries a little bit better, but that's okay. So in general, when you engineer carries, you want the treasures to get in at roughly the same time. I also accidentally whistled the captain that I meant to leave at the exit, which is okay. But So the fact that one treasure was moving a little faster than the other, that's the kind of thing that in general, if I was super locked in, I would try to sort of engineer a little bit better. All right, this next floor is another really fun one. There are 3 treasures. One is inside a giant roaming bull bear, which is a really scary, already awake grub dog, which will try to eat all of your Pikmin and kill you and take all your money. That last part, a little bit more metaphorical versus literal. But honestly, he's over there. These are Bulbmen, by the way. Say hello to the Bulbmen. This is weird. No, it's not weird. I'm the weird one for not recognizing this earlier. Alright, so there's a treasure over here. Alright, so... Dude... Look at this guy. What are you doing? Hey. Hey. Come here. Come here. Alright. Sometimes you just gotta give him a little encouragement. He just found that wall just like super interesting. All right, this is... I accidentally did a slight misread here, which is, which is kind of fine. There's a lot going on, so I basically what I was trying to find. If you're like, where was he going? I was trying to find the ring. So that buried ring is what I was trying to find. And so that's what I was kind of having trouble, like, where is the ring? And it took me a second to find the ring. But upon realizing where it was, I'm like, a classically trained runner will know how to find the ring quicker. But for some reason, it just wasn't in my visibility. Was that one alcove truly empty? The answer is yes. It was just a fake out alcove. Luckily, because an egg was in the farther alcove, I was able to score out that it was empty. But it did mix me for a brief moment. Okay. This layout is a funny one because you can get all of your Pikmin zapped. Oh, one thing that I was saying of import earlier is that you can save Pikmin from fire and poison and a bunch of other hazards, but you cannot save Pikmin from electricity. Electricity is an insta-kill, and so as such, electricity is like considered extra dangerous, basically. Oh, the bumbling snitch bug grabbed my captain and left it right at the hole. That's very nice of it.
I think one thing that's dangerous is how little time you have left to get the Hotfix Summer Collection on Yeti.com/GDQ. That's just my opinion, though.
Get it? Oh my goodness, you got it.
Yeah, for y'all who don't know, on the Yeti.com, there is a bunch of seasonal Hotfix designs. The summer is ending, unfortunately, so all of the stuff that was on that shop, and trust me, you do want to take a look at that shop at the very, very least, is going to be going away forever and ever and ever, and it's going to be replaced with stuff from the fall. So if you're at least a little bit intrigued, try taking a look at that.
Okay. So these are Mamutas. These enemies actually cannot kill Pikmin, but they can plant Pikmin, which, from my perspective, is actually equally annoying, because it means I have to go pluck them. And there's a lot of them in the way. So I'm gonna try to see he's planting my Pikmin. Stop it, you. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I've been kind of keeping it cool, but I am broke. I am like extremely broke right now. I have been playing fast and loose, and you can tell because I have no money. That's okay. I think we're gonna do. I kind of know what I want to do to help the fact that I'm just the most like not money having person alive, and I'm gonna think about that. I'm gonna think about how best to do this. There's some backups. I'm thinking about a treasure that I might not normally get that might be worth getting in this instance, just because it's just because we're a little bit light on money. And so if you're wondering, like, Cap, how is it possible to be light on money? It's just a function of like how many bugs you get, because the bugs are randomly oriented in a layout. Sometimes some bugs are actually like harder to collect depending on the layout, right? So some layouts will have a lot of bugs that you can collect, and some layouts will just kind of be very bug poor. And so obviously you kind of have to adjust as needed. Those are just Boldmen, which are fine. I don't get to take them to the grave anyway. This is the concave side. Some my Pikmin speedrunning brethren are gonna watch back this VOD and be like, "Who is the concave side? You should have known." You can tell which way Pikmin are gonna path, and I realized that I needed to kill that bull board. But it's fine, I'm gonna collect it anyway. I have to kind of do this. Olimar is gonna do a great job. Look at Olimar go. This guy was scary, and then I just decided to not worry about it. Oh. This is awful. That's okay. Honestly, the good news about this layout not being that great is it did give me the opportunity to get a couple more bugs than I was expecting. Oh, that is in fact a purple beef that you just killed. That's cool. It's okay. All right. In any case, that purple leaf was very slow, so kind of a skill issue on that guy's part.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a speedrun. He can definitely be picking up the pace a little bit.
I know, exactly. You know, it's like, you know, there was a bomb earlier that clipped a red, for example, because it didn't run as fast as a white, you know, and so speed matters. But we're pacing really well. What did I say the estimate for this category was going to be again? Like a 140?
Yeah, 140.
Oh, we're chilling. We're so chilling.
It's okay. I had faith the whole time. I trusted you with my life.
You honestly, trusting you with your life, in many cases would be somewhat suspect. But in specifically the case of Pikmin 2, you know, there are worse people you could trust. For sure. All right, this is the last area. We have all of our Pikmin. We have all of our treasures. We're 80% of the way done. We just got to clean it up. 2 more caves. Super quick back to back.
I do appreciate how the game says that, like, you're like 60% or 80% of the way there, but it's like these are round numbers. Like, you need what, like 10,000? Like, okay, yeah, 8,000 might be 80% of that. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit obvious.
Sure. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's just a little fun little fanfare, right? So there's the cutscene for the yellow onion, and we just proceed to ignore them. we have all the Pikmin we need to finish out the run. We unfortunately we do not need them for anything. So of course, traditionally, you would need the yellows to access blues. So that's kind of traditionally why you would need to get the yellows. But of course, through shenanigans prior, we already have blues. And so, of course, the next question is, what are the yellows good for? And to that, I say absolutely nothing. Sorry. So, unfortunately, the yellows we're kicking them out. You know, they're out of the band. This is a very weird sublevel, but I kind of blocked that it was weird early. Okay. That hazard was not handled like that.
That's a lot of guys that were on fire at one time.
Yeah, but you know, they'll just do that. Okay. But you know, again, you can save them, right? So like, fire is actually not the end of the known universe because of the fact that you can just kind of save Pikmin from fire. So note that I'm just like, oh man, that's kind of frustrating speed-wise, right? Like that fire slowed me down, but none of my Pikmin were really in danger from the fire because I'm right there and I can just whistle them. And I believe you have, is it 6 seconds? I used to know the more exact value, but.
This might be a conversation that's a little much for Hotfix in terms of like what the scope is here, but like, is it okay like morally to like let Pikmin be on fire? Like they're probably like scared out of their minds, right?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of terrifying for what's supposed to be a rated E for everyone game. If you actually play out the text in the cutscene of when they're on fire, they're like, Pikmin are suffering. Please save them.
Oh no.
And it's like, they specifically use the word suffering. So like, they're not having a good time.
I think it's never okay to let your Pikmin be on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really let them. It's kind of like a skill issue type thing. Like, why are you on fire? Why are you doing this to yourself? Please stop.
Twitch chat, is it okay to leave your Pikmin in a hot car?
Oh, this is super interesting. So this is 3. There is a can, and there is a shell. And the fact that a gate is in front of spawn is interesting. I'm gonna actually try to collect that snitch bug. That snitch bug is meaty. Where is it? I think it's here, right? Yeah, it is. Cool. All right, here's the buried treasure. I was able to use the power of how procedural generation works to know that it was going to be there. So that's... Hey, don't get electricity. That purple was doing something. Okay. That purple hitting the snitch bug was dangerously close to 2 arcing guys. So that's kind of cool. Alright. This was pretty clean though. They were in the same room, which is not too bad. So now I just have to knock down this gate to the hole, and then we can get the heck out of here. Ugh. Technically, I could have gone around in the hallway, but because of how it's pathing, I don't actually know if going around and skipping that first gate would have been faster. That's kind of hard, but I don't think it would have been faster if I'm going to be honest. Okay, so we're just going to skip 4 because we can. Oh man, only 1 gate at spawn. That is not the number of gates that I like to see at spawn. Yeah, dang. So, you see no Pikmin on fire. Though a Pikmin did get eaten, which, you know, you can kind of talk about the ethics of letting your Pikmin get eaten too, but... Whoa, hey, who else died?
I think that one is like worse for sure.
Another slow purple got eaten. I don't want the slow purples to get eaten, but we have to ask the question, why are they getting eaten? And the answer is because they didn't put in the time as a track star when they were young. So, the moral of the story, you know, join your cross-country team early if you don't want to be fooled. That is what the lesson that Pikmin teaches you.
Never skip cardio day.
Exactly. Okay, so I only have 13 purples, so I'm going to have to do something a little bit crazy for this beady longlegs fight. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. All right. The beady longlegs did not want to appear. Oh, wow. Did you just... Wow, you are killing my purples today. You can smack that guy's legs, though, and he behaves. I'm a little... I had an okay number of purples, but my purple count has gotten kind of low. Look right towards the end, which is interesting. That's okay. I have a Okay, you know what? I wanted to leave that white Pikmin base with the nectar from that beetle that's scurrying around over there, but it wandered too far back to spawn. I got the key. Here's the key, by the way. Challenge mode has been unlocked. Look at the aura of the key. I like that you mostly get like bottle caps and other fun treasures in this game. This one is just like the key. And I'm like, wow. Truly one of the most aura farming treasures out there. Okay, this kind of got silly, but that's okay. I have no money. I might get the cookie. So there is a cookie in Glutton's Kitchen that that you normally don't collect because it's a silly treasure. Oh, so close, almost. Okay. All right, in any case, so that is Aquatic Mine. That is a treasure that we need to get because we're broke. It's a little bit slow, you know, you kind of have to go out of your way to get that treasure. So if you have more money, if you have a lot of more money and a bonus treasure that you can collect earlier, but we didn't, you can sometimes skip that treasure. But otherwise you have to kind of just collect it, kill that little mini boss over there, and collect. Getting to Glutton's Kitchen normally requires you to knock down an electric fence with yellows that we don't have. However, through the power of knapsacks, all things are possible. Like, for example, getting up on this ledge and cheesing our way into Glutton's Kitchen. We collect Aquatic Mine. Oh, wow, we are not even at 80. Yeah, we have to get a cookie, I think. Not even being at 8,800 here is a little bit poor, but that's okay. I feel like marathons, for some reason, always kind of run light on the money. I've kind of noticed this trend. I don't know why, but it always just seems to be light on the money. That's okay. Let's see what happens. We're going to skip one. One is a silly floor, and we could have done one, but I think getting two is more reasonable. We'll find out soon. Okay. Let's see what... So there's a cookie, and I need to find it. Oh no, the cookie is in an incredibly bread-buggable location. Okay, so the Glutton's Kitchen has what we call bread bugs. Bread bugs are known for taking treasures and stealing them. Luckily, I basically knocked that bread bug with a long-range sniper throw, and we're good. So that was a very nice sniper throw. I just threw Pikmin, and they were able to get a direct hit on the bread bug, and that made him drop the treasure, so that's quite good. Pretty reasonable cookie, all things considered.
Yeah, I could like play this game, but like not that fast. I think snipes in this game, like on game controller, are like so satisfying.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, it's also because it follows like a momentum engine. So if you're running and you're throwing, running throws, you know, throw Pikmin farther. So you have to factor that in, like how fast you're running and stuff, because it has like a physics engine where obviously if you're running and you're throwing, the Pikmin will throw farther because you're kind of adding that momentum from your run speed. And so it's kind of fun that way. All right. So this is 3. There are also bread bugs on this floor that we're gonna hope do not steal my lunch. Looks like the answer is no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I just realized something is not. Sorry. There is a very rare chance that... What is going on? Why? Where is this? Oh my goodness, this is the... Okay, come on. This is not good, is it? Oh man, that's a classic. Well, that's cool. That was awesome. What a weird Glutton's Kitchen. So I saw the breadbug try to steal it, and the breadbug just dragged my Pikmin straight through the electric gate and killed everybody. So thanks, man. Oh man, that was interesting. That was one of the sub-levels of all time. But you know, Pikmin 2 can do that to you, you know? As old Pikmin legend MoKG once said, you need to be prepared for that to happen. Which is something that I hold true. Pikmin is a crazy game with a lot of interactions, and the real secret to being a good speedrunner is that you need to be prepared for that to happen.
Personally, if that happened to me, I'm just hitting the FGC nod, like, okay, we go next.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of, I mean, it killed like 15 Pikmin, and what else am I going to say, right? Just like, you know, we ball, right? Here's the thing, Glutton's Kitchen is I didn't make this clear, I guess, in the very beginning, but just to be extremely explicit, Glutton's Kitchen is the last cave, right? Like, there is nothing else after this, right? There is nothing else to save your Pikmin for. There is nothing else that you should be leaving on the table, right? Like, this is it. This is the final cave, so. Dude, what are you doing? Stop. This guy is very hungry and has a ton of health, and so you kind of have to be a little careful. Okay, what the heck? How did none of those Pikmin one-shot? I threw purples and just none of them killed this guy. Alright, this is sort of an interesting Glutton's Kitchen. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, Glutton's Kitchen being a little interesting right now. But yeah. That just certainly happened. So this is why, like, throwing and C-sticking is kind of, you know, like a balance, right? Like, squishing those Bulborbs is way better than C-sticking. Because if you C-stick them, they're just going to start munching, and then they're going to, you know, they basically start, you know, shaking off and leaving all your Pikmin. And of course, it's very frustrating. All right. Whew. All right, we finally got the mug. And we're only 2 more sub-levels, team. Only 2 more. You just gotta hang on. I also have no clue how much money I have, which is unlike me. Because I'm doing all this commentary. I'll need to... Oh, wow. We're getting a lot of really interesting sub-levels here in the marathon. So this is a very interesting sub-level. Because there's an antenna that you normally collect here. And that part maybe isn't crazy. But the antenna being here, that's something that you do not see every day. So that's kind of fun. So of course these Pikmin these dwarves are gonna eat my Pikmin, which is of course a little frustrating, but you just take it because, oh, you know, I'm actually not too bad on money. Cookie helped a lot here. But you just gotta take it, right? Because there's nothing, you know. You lose Pikmin, but this is the last floor, you know? Like, you're not gonna need Pikmin for anything else after this cave, so at this point, you just gotta put all your resources into getting the treasures moving. But yeah, this GK was interesting. Okay, if I lock in, we might still somehow cheese under the estimate, despite a 3-minute mistake at early blues and several other shenanigans. We might be able to cheese just under estimate. So
I believe.
Let's find out. Yeah.
Chat, type 1 if you believe.
Type 1 if you believe. Type 2 if you believe, but in 2.
And type into your browser, twitch.tv/capcaprevenge, if you believe, but like while you're following.
Yeah, oh yeah. Always a good thing to do. Cool. I'm silly. Why did I not do this earlier? I just didn't root key.
Oh no.
Should have just thrown. No. That treasure's been yoinked. Oh, the treasure's been double yoinked. Oh no. Okay. Well, this is going to be interesting. Well, so if a bread bug steals your treasure, it's okay. The important thing is to not panic. Okay, okay, it's fine. This, it's kind of convenient. Oh my god, dude, seriously, stop. So now I gotta go kill these guys. So as you can see, this is kind of tedious, and unfortunately, you cannot C-stick. You have to direct hit these bozos, and so that's obviously somewhat frustrating. Alright, well... Okay, my internet flickered. Everyone be cool. Everyone be cool. My internet flickered, but you gotta be cool. No, it's fine. We're back. We're back, everybody. It's okay.
Chat, there was just a quick flicker, but hopefully we're back.
Yeah. Time in 3, 2, 1, and bleep. We're done. So that's should be something like a 140-45. A little bit of a choke on the last floor, unfortunately, with the double bread bug steal, but otherwise, I'm pretty happy with how this run went. I thought this was kind of fun. A bunch of fun sub-levels and showcases. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, GG's. It might not have went totally right, but I do appreciate all of the cool stuff you were going for, even if it didn't all pan out. That was incredible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, I mean, you know, who doesn't like to see a little bit of chaos at the end, right? So, you know, it's all good. Yeah, thanks, everyone. Some quick shout-outs before we get to the 3DX run is, one, join the Pikmin Speedrunning Discord. We already love you. Just join. You don't, you know, we're pretty friendly. Doesn't matter if you have any Pikmin experience. We're happy to have you. Shout out to all of the Pikmin community. I've been a part of the community for like 8 or 9 years now, and I really love this game and running this game, and the people who also like to run this game. So it's been a wild ride, and I'm always really happy to showcase this game to more people. You know, so I really enjoyed it. So, you know, yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, and like I said several times throughout this run, do not forget to follow them. This was an incredible run, and if you liked that run, you're probably gonna like this stream. I can probably bet on that pretty comfortably. But we're gonna be back in just a few minutes. We're gonna be taking a quick breaky poo, so you know, get up, stretch, de-shrimpify, all of that good stuff. You know, maybe unload your dishes real quick and come right back. We're gonna be back with a run of Pikmin 3 Deluxe. So stick around. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Creature Corner here on GDQ Hotfix. If you missed that last run, which was absolutely incredible, You can find that on youtube.com/GamesDoneQuick. It's going to be uploaded in just a couple of days. And you can see all the VODs from all the different events we have here on Hotfix, all of the different shows, all of the actual events that are here on Games Done Quick. There's a lot of them. You can do !BAF, !FF, exclamation packs. I don't know the one for GDQX, but the submissions for those just closed. And then there's also submissions for the Latin American Heritage Month celebration. You can find all of that on all of our socials. But I do really want to get into this run because I'm super excited. I love Pikmin games. They're so cool. And I'm so excited to see this Pikmin 3 Deluxe run brought to us by JYKAP and SPU. If you'd like to take it away.
Hello, I'm J596. I'll be playing any % Pikmin 3 Deluxe today. And I have joining me my commentators, Cap and SPU, if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
I'm SPU. I run Pikmin 3 Deluxe as well. Jay's a talented runner. He's better than me. So hopefully he does good today.
I'm Cap. I just did Pikmin 2, so you guys kind of know who I am. But I have actually done a Pikmin 3 speedrun, and I am not at all good compared to SPU and Jay. But I do think this run's really cool. So I'm excited to commentate with SPU.
All right, would someone like to count down?
I think that's you.
Sure, no problem.
Oh, do I count it down?
Just do it. I can count you down. 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay. This is Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Right away, we selected the normal mode, and that's crucial for the 80% speedrun. What that basically means is that there's going to be more nectar, which is great for us, because that means we can level up our Pikmin faster. It also means that enemies are going to be at half HP, and that includes bosses. So many of our bosses we kill are going to be done in less cycles compared if we did it on hard mode. This is also this is also the 80% category. So quick introduction on Pikmin 3. We are sent to this planet with the goal of collecting fruit to save our own home planet, Kopai. In the 80% speedrun, we ignore that objective entirely and just get off the planet. So we just speedrun the game.
Save today.
Yeah.
So Pikmin 3 is kind of different from the rest of the Pikmin games, because a lot of the Pikmin games, including the sequel to this, Pikmin 4, are usually very like treasure collection oriented for like the credits. So it's usually, for a lot of the games, it's, collect a certain number of objects and then you'll hit the credits. And that's true for all of the games except for Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3 is kind of interesting, where there is a collection quest that you need to collect, which is the fruit, and you need to collect the fruit to continue the days. But the game actually ends. You actually hit the credits when you beat the last boss. And so you kind of have a more traditional any % category, where this is really just a journey to kind of beat the last boss. So it's going to be kind of engineered towards that. So that's just the context I wanted to give.
Yeah. I just think it's funny that we come to this planet to save our planet, Kopai, and then we leave the planet, and then Kopai's screwed.
Yeah, you're supposed to collect fruits, but that's why it's very silly. Lore-wise, you're supposed to collect fruits, but the game doesn't end when you collect fruits. The game ends when you kind of, beat the last boss and I guess rescue Olimar. Spoilers for those who don't want to be spoiled. Until, maybe 10 to 15 minutes from now. But yeah, so this first bit, kind of similar to a lot of Pikmin tutorials. Jay's doing a lot with not a lot of Pikmin. Just kind of has to grow the squad. And there's a bunch of stuff that you kind of have to do. It's motion controls, so you have to kind of do these precision throws to try to one-shot those shear grubs to be picked up easier. And then he's also working on a 5 pellet, so that it's going to be ready to collect soon. He's also doing what's called pluck canceling, which is a Pikmin 3 exclusive. So what's happening is, as he selects A to pluck, he can cancel by hitting B, but as long as the game has registered that he started to pluck, the Pikmin will pluck anyway. So you can pluck, cancel, and it cancels the animation for you to rapidly pluck mini sprouts. So that's what he was doing over there.
Yeah.
And that's a good, really good tech in Pikmin 3.
Yeah, right here he's also doing another tech called Seeping. Basically, when two different things come into the onion at the same time, if you time it perfectly, you can basically just make it sprout faster. So that's going to be a couple times throughout the run to save time.
Yeah, so basically, depending on the timing, if you time it correctly, the seeds from this 5 pellet are going to spawn. Basically, the seeds from that 5 pellet were already coming out, even though the 5 pellet hadn't actually been fully absorbed yet. As long as it's under the onion getting absorbed and the onion is producing sprouts, it will actually continue producing sprouts that it knows it's going to make when the 5 pellet gets kind of sucked in. So that's kind of how that works. So it is kind of bizarre, but it's a cool little manip that you can pull off in this game. In any case, this is just, you sort of a set amount of damage, and then once Jay walks through this little hole, then he finds the SS Drake, which is his ship, and we are done with day 1. Very nice.
Just like that, tutorial's done, but only kind of. Because the first half of day 2 also has a ton of tutorial elements as well.
Heck yeah.
It's a bit more open though. It gives you more freedom, and you're actually like able to make choices. It just still has tutorial stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get off the day 2 at a pretty good clip though. I mean, you start doing, I called it this kind of a tutorial because at least in the beginnings of these tutorials, it's always usually pretty linear. Like you have to get past this one objective that the game wants to teach you, whereas starting in day 2, you'll already get started off on quite a clip. We'll kind of narrate it as it goes, but like Jay's gonna get started on a gate, and he's gonna actually get started on 2 gates at once, kind of using sort of clever sort of throwing and charging. So in Pikmin 2, you saw me use the C-Stick. In Pikmin 3 Deluxe, there is no C-Stick because of kind of weird motion control gambits, but there's something called charging, where you can kind of select a target with your motion control and tell your Pikmin to go sort of attack that target from the ground. And so there's kind of a clever manipulation that he's going to do. So the first thing he's going to do is he's going to throw the Pikmin onto this gate over here. And then he's going to take 7 Pikmin, and he's going to actually whistle them and then have them charge that far gate, which is going to be very important for helping sort of the routing flow later, because you're going to want to go that direction, and you don't want to wait for that gate to be done.
Yeah, so if he does this section perfectly, the second he gets to that bar section, it should break right when he gets there, or he has to wait like a second or 2 at most. But if he hadn't done that, he would have to wait there for about 20 or 30 seconds, which is obviously not ideal.
Correct. And of course, so that's why, even though this is some tutorial elements, you can see that Jay's already kind of being a master at multitasking several different things. He's also sending a bunch of Pikmin to the material pile to build the bridge, and with these Pikmin over here, he's going to use the nectar available to get them flowered. And if you weren't here for my stream where I talk about how that's important, flower Pikmin carry things a lot faster. So you can imagine in a speedrun, the faster carry is pretty crucial for fast movement and fast game. SPU was talking about normal mode earlier, and one thing that normal mode does is it does decrease the health of enemies. So you see that he kind of just charged a couple dozen or so, basically just a little more than a dozen Pikmin onto the Bulborb, and the Bulborb died really before it knew what happened, because its health is kind of drastically reduced from if you played on hard mode.
And for reference, the original Wii U version played on the hard mode.
Yeah, so Pikmin 3 Deluxe basically introduced difficulty modes, but its normal mode is actually easier than the default mode of the Wii U version.
Yeah, so
the original.
Yeah, the difficulties are normal, hard, and ultra spicy, but it's really just normal and ultra spicy.
Yeah, normal is easier, is the easy mode. I mean, there's a lot of things that are much easier about normal mode. Any case, what Jay did here is kind of played through a easy section here to get rock Pikmin. Rock Pikmin are, somewhat useful in that they can knock down these crystal barriers, which you kind of need to progress So far, you've just been one captain. You've been Alf, but these Rock Pikmin are going to break a glass wall to actually free Brittany. So now there are multiple captains. And the cool part is in Pikmin 3 compared to Pikmin 2, you can actually throw captains. And so there's some fun shenanigans that you can achieve by doing that.
Also, we're skipping that fruit because it's slower than a future fruit. So
that's
screwing over our planet again.
Exactly. So yeah, so the game is like, here, collect this fruit. But how Pikmin 3 works is you use fruit to collect. Getting fruit allows you to sort of create juice, and juice determines how many days you can explore the planet. So you only need to collect enough fruit to finish exploring the planet in time to beat the last boss at any percent. So Jay's going to do a really cool thing there where he charged everyone but was able to get a whistle out to whistle all of the leaves. And so that's some pretty cool tech, honestly.
That's one of my favorite small techs in this entire game or run, is just that little whistle there.
I'm the one who found it.
Yeah, shoutouts to SBU for discovering that.
Shoutouts, yeah, Goats BU.
Just wanted to shout myself out.
You know,
I think you deserve it.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty warranted for that, honestly.
Also, that swimming strat he did, that's another use of normal mode. It's a smaller tech where Pikmin take less time to drown, but we utilize it there to basically just skip throwing across.
Take more time to drown. Yeah. Sorry, just.
Sorry. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's 1 a.m.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is Modad. Modad actually is slightly RNG heavy because you see how he's running around the arena. You want him to not do this, right? You're like,
oh man.
Oh my god!
Really?
I think
what is he doing? Oh my god, that is hilarious.
So that was probably the worst possible scenario what you guys just saw. Actually.
Yeah.
If Jay was attempting for like a world record time there, he would have probably reset the run right there. That's how bad that was.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. So basically, you want the Modad to get to the wall so that you can get him off the wall and kind of initiate that quick kill. But you can't actually quick kill him the first time he's on the ground. So you actually want him to run to the wall ASAP. But for some reason for reasons I'm not personally sure about, he decided to do like a gigantic figure 8 for no reason. Except that he wanted to lose time in this GDQ run.
He knew he was on the big screen.
In the meantime,
and wanted to stretch it out as long as possible.
Yeah, honestly. In any case, we're also going to throw a couple more Pikmin. That's going to be useful for later.
Yes, so we can't progress any further until that phone gets back. So we basically just use this downtime to throw more Pikmin and nectar them. I'm going to be doing that a couple times.
Rock Pikmin in the background there. Rocks can for some reason swim in this game sometimes because their hitboxes are very weird. So they can just keep jumping out of the water almost infinitely. Like, this guy's been swimming since I charged every Pikmin into the water earlier.
Yeah, this game's wacky. I mean, this dude is... I honestly feel bad for him. I mean, the dude's been drowning for 4 straight minutes.
You gotta stop waterboarding your Pikmin, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Holy crap.
And then you just left them behind too.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite of leaving your Pikmin in a hot car.
Yeah. Love that. In any case, but he got the phone. The boss was a little mean, but phone still acquired, and so that's the end of day 2. Something that I find to be really funny is, for some reason, in every Pikmin installment, the end of day screens get longer and longer. Because they're 2 seconds in Pikmin 1. They're 11 seconds in Pikmin 2. They're and then in Pikmin 3 and 4, they're 45 seconds. So it's just incredibly long end of days. But in any case, in that screen that you just saw, those are the juice, right? So obviously we are running out of juice. We will need to get a fruit, but it's not fast to get a fruit here. And part of that weird optimization is just those fruit cutscenes. So that's kind of an element there. So, I mean, a lot to talk about in day 3, so we kind of might as well get started early. So day 3 is probably the most skip-heavy day in the run. You basically skip the entire area, and so that's so there's a lot of cool tech. The first thing you are going to do is you're actually going to skip getting the yellow onion, which is really funny because in Pikmin 2 you also don't get yellows in Payoff Debt, which is the run I just did. And here you also, you get yellows, but you kind of don't get yellows. It's kind of weird. I'm sure you'll kind of see what I mean in just a moment. So you do pluck these yellows, but instead of actually completing that circuit, which activates the yellow onion, you can kind of see Jay. Oh. Whoops! He fell off. Which, that happens. I'll let Jay cook for a second and then describe it. It's pretty self-explanatory, but he's doing some crazy stuff right now.
Yeah, so this is probably like the biggest sequence break in the run. You basically skip. If you were to do this normally, it would take around like 10 or so minutes. Ideally, Jay can get this whole day done in like 2 or 3.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So the first thing that we did is we skipped getting the yellow onion. Right. So you're supposed to whistle those 5 yellows, connect the circuit, which unlocks the yellow onion. Instead, we whistle those 5 yellows and then kind of do that wall ride to actually go out of bounds and then exit the cave through the hitbox for the cave exit. And so now we've actually exited the area, which you're not supposed to be able to do without getting yellows. And now you see that we've also kind of ran out of bounds, because walls are a suggestion in Pikmin 3, and we've kind of ran out of bounds, and we're also going to kind of, something similar to Early Blues, where we run out of bounds and we kind of warp to a place, we've switched, so that's not the warp. That's Alf back at spawn. Yeah, here's Brittany with the warp. And then because of that, we're able to kind of enter the boss arena kind of through the back. That's actually the back entrance that you're not supposed to unlock until you've already beaten the boss, but we're actually able to enter from there. And you need 10 yellows to actually beat the boss. And so we actually grow those 10 yellows with that flower because you don't have the onion. And we're able to kill the boss in 2 hits. So that's hit 1. And Jay has to time this up.
Oh, it's a third light. Okay. Yeah, there's a backup to this.
Nice.
Good backup.
All good. Yeah.
Sometimes you can be too far away, and that would have been pretty catastrophic.
He had low enough HP. You could have just waited for him to attack, and you could have gotten him down.
Yeah, but that constitutes catastrophic, I would say.
Very true. So as you can see, we're all out of juice. So in the next day, we are going to need to get a fruit because we're all out of juice. But that's so juice is what you need to keep. Juice determines how many more days you have left to explore. So that's actually the fruit mechanic. There are 66 fruits in the game, and we collect a shockingly few number.
2.
2 entire fruits throughout the entire run.
Cap
didn't know that number.
Yep. I could have done it out. It's the orange and the plum, right? Yeah, I mean, I have speedrun this game. I swear. Surprising, but true. So in this game, compared to a lot of the other Pikmin games, you have a lot of out of bounds, right? So nothing is like day 3 in terms of the amount of out of bounds, but in order to get to the boss area here, you are going to do what's called a captain clip, where Jay is trying to get one of the captains, kind of smush the captain in bounds.
I think I messed up the visual part going up to it.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I had it, and then...
Yeah, that clip is a lot harder than it looks. Probably the hardest.
I think Pikmin 3, I mean, because it's a lot of sequence breaks, it's kind of hard, because if it's done correctly, because it's all clipping, the nature of it, it's like looks very easy, right? Like even day 3, like when Jay runs up that wall to get out of bounds after doing the weighted ball skip, like that looks really easy, but like you have to approach it at the right angle, right? Like it's not actually free.
And you also have to do it fast as well.
Yeah, exactly. So like there's a lot, like it's one of those things where if it's done correctly, it looks effortless, but there's, as someone who has tried to run this game and is nowhere near as good as my compatriots here, I can tell you like it's very easy to be extremely sluggish at doing it properly. And so doing it effortlessly is its own type of skill.
It's actually quite hurtful.
Yeah, exactly. In any case, so this is Mirror Slug, the next boss with our item inside. And Jay has basically, Mirror Slug kind of follows a pretty easy pattern of it'll pop out and you need to kill it. But Jay is getting some bomb rocks, which will prove useful later. By later, I mean basically right now. So he can use the bomb rocks to get a nice finish or kill on the Mirror Slug. The bombs go, kill the Mirror Slug quickly. And there's the cell phone. Another cell phone, which we are going to use to continue our story progression.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this Pikmin run compared to like a lot of the other ones is just like a completely different type of flashy. Like a lot of the other ones are just like a bunch of multitasking, but this, since like you said, it's just pure beat the boss, continue your progression, beat the next boss, continue the progression. It's just like completely different in terms of like the skips you do, and it's just like flashy in a different way.
It's not a good thing or a bad thing, but I think that Pikmin 3 is kind of more of a traditional speedrun. Like, I think if you're like a very traditional speedrunner, I think that Pikmin 3 might appeal to you more, only because it is a little bit more of a traditional speedrun of like, clip through the level, get to the boss, get the objective, and repeat, right? Like, that's the loop. It's not a bad loop, right? I mean, that's what a lot of speedruns and a lot of story games are like, but I think Pikmin 3 is kind of more of what I call like a traditional speedrun, right? Yeah. Which, I mean, we're all at Games Done Quick. I mean, that's most of the speed games that you look at, right? So it's certainly not a bad thing. We've grown some more rocks. We've collected the phone, and we're ready to move on with a nice, effortless phone collection from J596. We collected that orange, so all of that juice there, that's from the orange that we collected. So that's important.
So the reason we collect that orange instead of the strawberry earlier is because the first fruit we collect, it's like, there's a whole juicing cutscene that's supposed to play, but the first fruit, that cutscene is skipped. And because that orange contains more fruit than the strawberry, it's able to be faster because we're able to skip more cutscenes.
All about the optimized cutscene skipping.
Yeah.
So coming up next is probably one of the sort of most, I would call it the most infamous day in the speedrun, right? I mean, mostly because it has one of the harder clips and sequence breaks in the game. So this is where a lot of runs go to die if you're going to sort of aggressively pursue. Maybe not as much as day 2 with Modad, but still pretty brutal. So coming up, we have yet another Captain Clip variant. This is to get winged Pikmin early. Nice Captain Clip. You see how awesome that was? Great job.
It looks
It's
so much
cycle-based.
nicer when you get it quick.
It's cycle-based. It doesn't matter anyway.
But doesn't it look cool, SBU? Dang, SBU.
That was mean.
Wow, I'm sure I get. Like, I guess not.
No, but that was a great Captain Clip. I just wanted to be mean. That's
I know
kind of who I am.
You're allowed.
But yeah, this first section is it's based on the lily pad, so you have to wait for them anyways. So you can't really go that much faster. You could get that like captain clip like 15th try, and it'd be the same speed as like first try.
Well, I think if
However,
you do a
if you're
15th
not
try,
good-
it's probably you missed.
You
the
can
cycle.
you can miss it. I've made the cycle of 15th try.
Okay. Well,
I also want to clarify that if you're not one of like the world record / former world record holders of this game, you might try for like many seconds. It's like captain clips are very tricky if you're not goated. Luckily, that is not a problem among the company of SBUs, if I may say. Being goated is their specialty.
Off fruits muscle memory.
They've dug up.
yep.
They've dug up another fruit, so that's one thing that you see, right? Look at that fruit. The winged Pikmin are broken. Winged Pikmin will fly, so that's kind of broken, and they'll just carry stuff like over all obstacles, right? If you're like, oh, this is kind of a weird path, there's like walls and water and a bunch of weird things, and the winged Pikmin will not care. The winged Pikmin will just say, oh, I guess we're just going to carry it over all of these obstacles into the ship. So that's what it did just there. We picked up some bombs on the way, and the bombs are very convenient. One knocks down that wall, and that's very good. And then the other is going to knock down this wall. So good use of the bombs. But coming up is going to be kind of another sort of somewhat complicated multi-part captain clip in order to get one of the captains kind of up on that ramp that you see right there. So it's kind of this multi-part clip that you see. And once again, Jay just makes it look completely effortless. Awesome.
Definitely
nice work.
another good example of that. That entire segment right there is pretty hard to figure out.
Yeah, there's multiple ways of doing the clips. I remember when it was found, we spent like a week just labbing it out, trying to get it down.
Yeah. No, that's a tricky one. That's one of the ones that
Me and
I
SBU
personally
actually use
struggle
two different clips there because we both find it we both find ours easier than the other one.
Well, mine's objectively better, but that's another point.
And yet, J596 has a world record, so who really is goated? You know, it's hard to say. Any case, so this is Scornet Maestro. So Scornet Maestro is sort of like hard-coded to be 2 cycles. Luckily, since we've killed a bunch of Scornets on the first volley, it immediately goes into the second phase, and Jay's gonna time this wing charge as he sends those rows of Scornets, and that just kind of makes this for an easy 2 cycle.
Here
So
comes
now
another reason to hate Louis. Not only in the previous game does he run off with all of our food, or money, I guess. We also have to clip him through this wall because we didn't really build the bridge to get up here, and he normally passed down through that bridge. So the only way to get him through is to sort of clip him, and it's very, very hard and very infamous. And this is where the majority of runs will die. So hopefully Jay can get it done well.
Basically, there's this invisible wall that we're right in front of, and we just have to have the game say, nah. So
It's very finicky. It's not entirely luck because you do have control over it, but it may as well be luck with how finicky it is. You nearly got it there.
So you can see that they're like jittering Louis, right? You can see that as they're jitter Louis, they can like jitter Louis over the edge. And so that's sort of what we want to have achieved. But obviously, you have to jitter Louis the right way, right? So it's a little bit finicky in
Looks
nature.
like this sometimes.
Oh,
The more left I've kind of
we got
noticed,
it.
the better. But it's, yeah, you don't really want to have to maneuver it like that. So that was
Something
a pretty
that
good
also has
example
been
of how
happening.
awful that can be.
Yeah.
That was actually why I
mean,
did
it's
that,
also
was to show
not-
it off.
Oh, it's just, of course, yeah, totally. any case, now that Louie's being carried, we can quickly nectar most of our men in the downtime because we have to wait for Louie to collect. Louie is our collectible in this case. Also, one thing that has been happening is there is a spicy berry plant, and so we have been collecting spicy sprays, which were introduced in Pikmin 2, but actually are not used in the payoff at speedruns, so we didn't really talk about them at all. But spicy sprays basically are, you know, our energy drinks for Pikmin. So in Pikmin 3, what it does is it flowers all of your Pikmin, and it makes them attack twice as fast, and they also carry slightly faster, and they basically supercharge your Pikmin. And you're going to see in a couple upcoming bosses that supercharge is going to be of critical importance. So that's sort of
It
what's
also
going to happen
flowers
next.
any Pikmin that aren't already flowered, which is another good thing. It's more used in the All Fruits run, but it's a good game mechanic to know.
Yeah, it's utilized several times in that run. Just flower everybody because the later days we don't really want to spend time going around and finding nectar. So next we're going to be headed back to the Garden of Hope because Louis decides to run off with all our fruit after we just rescued him, because of course he does.
Fun fact, you can soft lock right there because I'm playing on the Switch 2.
Right,
If
and the Switch 2 sometimes crashes in this game.
Yeah. Most crashes have been patched, but that soft lock still remains, and you have to look out for it. So
Yeah,
you can't
it's
just mindlessly skip the cutscene. You actually have to think about it.
Yeah, it's not a thing in the Switch 1 version, so really unfortunate that they added new content, and that new content was just a soft lock. So these wing Pikmin are actually going to be pretty useless for this next fight. So instead, Jay's going to put those wing Pikmin in that dirt mound and dig up that bridge. So that way, when we carry back Louis, the bridge will just be built and the Pikmin will path faster.
Exactly. So earlier I was talking about how broken winging Pikmin are, and while they are broken, like one of their downsides is they do carry slightly slower. And so because of that, it is actually optimal to build the bridge and not utilize wing Pikmin carrying Louis. It's funny that you have to actually like save Louis twice, right? You saved Louis from the Scornet, and now you have to save Louis from the Slug.
Some king of beasts he is.
Exactly.
Olimar saves him once, we save him twice, and then in Pikmin 4, I think he saved him twice. I don't remember.
Just like that, now we're waiting for Louis to go back to base and we can end the day.
Jay, are you gonna go for fling?
Yes, I have time.
I think you gotta.
Okay.
FP, do you want to explain what fling is to the uninitiated?
Okay. So in the simplest terms possible, normally in this next area we're gonna be in, we're gonna be escorting Olimar sort of out of this gigantic cave. And usually that is like a whole process. We clip out of bounds and we just basically drag them out of it. What the fling basically does is we push a bag into Olimar right as this guy that's chasing Olimar gets to him. And it basically just launches Olimar completely out of bounds, and we basically get to skip everything. It's very finicky and very precise. So if Jay fails it, then it'll likely restart the day and just do it normally. But hopefully he gets it so you can see what I'm talking about, because it is really cool.
Push out type 1 if you believe that we can get this.
If this was a few months ago, I would not have gone for the fling here, but in recent months, someone has found a setup. Lemery has found it.
Shout out Lemery. He also has a great tutorial that he's working on, if anyone is interested in running 80%.
Now is literally one of the greatest times to get into. Now is literally one of the greatest times to get into Pikmin 3 speedrunning, because a bunch of runners are making really good tutorials and there's a lot of resources, because this is a very sequence break heavy run, but with all of these tutorials, it's literally never been easier to get into the game.
Yeah, so another side effect of skipping yellow Pikmin is that it basically screws up our onion menu.
Yeah. You can't withdraw all Pikmin at once, like instantly, because then it tries to grab yellow Pikmin that aren't there. But if you grab out all the Pikmin that are after the yellow Pikmin, which is wings and blues, then you can select all and have them all come out at once.
Yeah. That blue Pikmin that we unlocked is completely useless. We just had to get it to disable an invisible wall, and it's actually more of a hindrance to have them unlocked because it's extra menuing.
Right. I mean, Jay can do whatever, but I usually throw See, he throws the blue off to the side.
Yeah, it's better to just get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. Any case, there is so Olimar is like kind of this is kind of the it's the side quest that becomes the main quest, right? You know, you were told that your quest is to get fruits, but surprise, it becomes a rescue mission to get Olimar, because Olimar has the cosmic drive key, which you need to get home anyway. So kind of mutually beneficial to save each other. And so so Jay's so basically right now this is kind of like a chase sequence where the Plasma Wraith is going to chase Olimar and try to suck him up, but we're going to kind of do sort of some interesting sequence breaks here. We want to get bombs for one, and that's for the final boss, but we're also going to do kind of an interesting thing to access that boss earlier. Jay or SB, do you kind of want to talk about how Fling works, because you guys are better at it than I am?
So we want to push down this bag at the perfect time, which is
probably get it first.
So this bag's gonna come down and hopefully launch Olimar like that. And I think I just got it.
Yeah, so now Olimar is out of bounds and basically considered like at the end point. So the only thing we have to do left is basically kill Brittany and switch the captain in charge of escorting Olimar to Charlie, who we conveniently sent back to the base at the very beginning. So once Brittany dies, we'll be entering the final boss, and time will come up very shortly. It's very sudden.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be ready. Here's the spicy spray. We're basically going to use those bombs to basically just kill this guy instantly. But he can regenerate his health, so we have to be very quick in finishing him off.
Go. He has unfortunately pixelated health a little bit, so it's a little bit of less. But time is coming up, so be wary.
Yeah, the second this guy dies, it's just gonna end once his health bar hits 0.
The boss is going a little long because it's a marathon, so of course it is.
Yep, he wants as much screen time
but you
as
see
possible.
that he's...
And...
Yeah.
Oh,
He's flying up in the air. That's supposed to be
Stalling.
time.
And done. Yeah, time.
There we go.
GG. That was crazy fast. I've never seen the end of that game be done so quickly. That was impressive.
Yeah. The end of the game makes it super cool. And what this is
Super cool
still a
speed
38.
run with
Yeah.
a lot of cool tricks in it. I really love that it's like completely different from any casual playthrough you'll ever see of this game. Because I'm pretty sure every day except for the tutorial day has a clip or just game-breaking bug now.
Oh yeah.
the tutorial also has a bug, but we don't utilize it.
Yeah.
You can basically get out of the tutorial and go and kill the Fossbat on the tutorial day, and then you basically end up with 2 Charlies, and it's really funny.
What? That sounds absolutely wild.
Yeah.
This game is super duper broken. And there's a lot of like fun side like category extensions you can do.
That was incredible. Where can people find out more about learning this game, and where can people find you as well?
To learn more about this game, you can join the Pikmin speedrunning server, which is linked on every single speedrun.com Pikmin game. And to find me, you can just go to my username is J596 on everything that I have. I have a Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter are the things that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm SP Diver. Again, you can find the tutorials for the game on Lemery's channel. I just want to give a shout out to him. He's a great guy.
Super awesome guy.
Yeah, and then you can find me just SP Diver, same username, basically everywhere: YouTube, Twitch, Discord, I guess Twitter. And Cap, he already did it probably, but if he wants to shout out himself, he should do that.
Yeah, I'm sick. Follow me for many reasons, but mostly because I'm sick at the game. Not this game, but like other games.
Some of them, yeah.
No, but mostly Pikmin. But I think the biggest thing as well is that if you're just interested in Pikmin in general, just always consider joining the Pikmin Speedrun Discord, which you can find in many links on any of the speedrun.com Pikmin sites, among other places. Because if you want to talk to me or Jay or SBU or learn anything about the games that you've seen here tonight, and even games that you didn't see here tonight, like Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 4, and even Hey Pikmin, for some reason, definitely, like,
if that's what you're into for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason. But like we're really friendly, and we're always dying to like help new runners learn the game and more community. So we will always we're very much not gatekeepy, and we welcome like new runners of all experience types. So if you want to hang out with us more and kind of hear more of our hilarious commentary and more of the community, check out that Discord for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone in chat, you saw that announcement. Please go check that out. But with this run being done, there is no more hotfix tonight. Oh no. Like I said before, if you want to watch any more GDQ Hotfix, we're live almost every single day. You can type in chat !schedule. You can find out the schedule for the rest of the week. And also, I'm pretty sure pretty soon we're going to be putting in the schedule for next week, which I'm sure is going to be absolute bangers back to back to back to back. So check that out. And you can go to